Good day, everyone. I'm Valentine Orga. Hope you're all healthy and having a fantastic day. You would be if you are using some of your favorite decentralized applications on mobile. Now, as an experienced blockchain developer, I understand the importance of facilitating the development process both for the good of the developers and the end users as well. This is what Scaffold enables you to do. It enables you to build your smart contracts and have your front end auto adapt to these smart contracts, right? For testing and debugging purposes. Now, the existing model enables you to do this on the web using Next.js. But me having had a few years of experience with React Native, I decided to bring this over. So, what does this look like? Well, let's get started. So first thing we need to do is to set this up. But before that, there are a few requirements. You need to have Yarn installed, you need to have Git installed, you need to set up React Native, and Ganache. Ganache will run your local blockchain, which will be hosted on your local IP address after we're all set. You can check out the website to install it. Once you've got all the requirements set up, you can go ahead and clone the repo. I'll call this Snowman as I have an example implementation of my Snowman NFT. Now let's cd into the project and install the packages and patch ethers. As you can see, ethers has been patched, which is necessary for React Native. It's important to run yarn patch ethers after installing any package. So if you have any package you wish to add to your app, be sure to patch ethers right after installation. It has to be patched to work efficiently on React Native. You need to connect your device to your computer via Wi-Fi hotspot so they can share the same network. This is where your local blockchain will be hosted on your local IP address. Now we need to open Ganache and create a new workspace. Let's delete this and create a new workspace. We'll call this Snowman. Now let's configure our server. The host name must be your local IP address, so make sure you're connected. On Mac, you can get the address by running this on your terminal. For Windows, do your research. Set the port number and the network ID must be 1337, as in Hardhat, which is the current smart contract development tool for this. Before we deploy our contract, we need to update the Ganache network settings with the private key of a funded account on our local blockchain and the RPC URL. So I'll go ahead and grab the private key of the first account. Go to Hardhat config, and it's advised to set the private key as an environment variable, but for demo purposes, I'll just dump this here. grab the RPC URL. Remember, it's HTTP, not HTTPS. It's not a secured network since it's local. I already have mine set up, but yours will be different from mine, more likely. So now we can deploy the contract. Oops, it seems I am not connected. Okay, so now we can deploy the contract. And Hardhat freaks out, but this is a common issue with an easy fix. Just delete the Ganache folder and you will have appeased the Hardhat gods and your contracts will be deployed successfully. So how do we do this? Head on to the deployments folder. We find the Ganache folder, which is the network we're deploying to, and we delete. We might as well delete Sepolia. Well, this is what I was testing for test networks. So rest assured the contracts work on any network you're deployed to. So you see our contracts have been deployed and the front end has been set up with our deployed contracts. Here are the transactions on Ganache for our contract creation. And now we need to set the alchemy key and the local provider in the constants.ts file for our front end. So the alchemy key here is the default, mine, but it is advised that you change it to yours to avoid network congestion. Now we can connect the device or run an emulator. I've already got my Redmi plugged in, but if you wish to run an emulator, that's fine as well. The tool works for Android and iOS, and we can run yarn stats on a new terminal, but this is optional as it will automatically run after yarn Android or yarn iOS. So since I'm connected to my Android device, I'll go ahead and run yarn Android. Achieve something today. And voila! Welcome to Scaffold ETH. Okay, welcome. This error you see here is due to the SSR provider tag used in the native base provider. It can be removed in the native base folder in node modules, or we can just go ahead and ignore it. Alright, it doesn't really affect anything. Scaffold ETH does not connect to any external wallets, but rather has its own wallet built into it, so we'll have to set this up. So if you have any wallet that you wish to import, any seed phrases, you can do that. If you don't have any, you can create a new one. So I've got a seed phrase set up, so I'll go ahead and import that seed phrase. My password is password, which is the best password in the world, by the way, and the biometric option is only available in devices which allow it. So if you're on an emulator, this option will be disabled for you to not show, right? So it will be false by default if you're in a device that is not available. So we import, we only need to start with one account. Amazing. So the black screen is the biometric prompt, by the way, but the screen recorder couldn't pick that up, so thus the black screen of death. Much like the existing model in the web, we can go ahead and debug contracts. Oops, I'm disconnected again. All right, so there we have the balance. Beautiful. If we take a look at the snowman contract, we will see all the details about it. Contract details, the variables, read and write methods. So let's take a look. Alright, so you see the snowman contract, the address, the balance, the network. See all the variables. You can always refresh this. You can see the read methods and you can see the write methods as well. So here's our inbuilt imported wallet, which is not funded. So we'll need to import an account from our local blockchain. So I'll go ahead and import the first account. I'll go through Telegram so I can access it with my device. So I'll dump that in Telegram straight up. Nice, and I pick it up from my mobile. This is really handy, by the way. Just so I'm sure there's a much more nerdy way of doing this, maybe using ADB shell input or something, but yeah, I'm dumb, so whatever. Alright, so go ahead and import that. And boom, we have our funded account, which we can use to sign transactions on our local blockchain. Beautiful, beautiful. Now we can check out the example implementation. I currently have nothing minted, but when I click the mint button, I'm prompted to confirm the transaction. This shows you all the details you need to know about this transaction: the gas, the estimated gas fee, the value, the amount, the function, the contract you wish to interact with. And when I confirm, I get one snowman. I do it again, and I get another snowman. So now I have two beautiful snowmen minted, which is the same contract as the one I have on my web, which I built with the existing model. If I switch network, that is not my target network, a floating button pops up for me, and if I press the network, I can switch to my target network, by the way. So watch out for that floating button if you're not connected to the target network. In the settings page, I can change my security options, and here's that biometric prompt again. I can change password, you can turn off signing with biometrics, and I can receive funds, I can transfer funds, and I can also switch accounts. So let me go back to that snowman contract, and here's one fun thing about Scaffold ETH. Right, so I head on over to the snowman contract, and if I change something in the contract, right, and redeploy, say I change the name to snowman NFT, right, my front end will automatically adapt to this change. right? Which is cool and lets developers to build dapps seamlessly. So if I go ahead and redeploy this change, all right, so I deploy this to my local network. Requires a bit of patience, but yeah, deployed. And you see the front end instantly refreshes, and if I fetch the name again, you get the update. Voila. So this is the example implementation. And also, Scaffold ETH comes with some hooks to ease up development, right? It comes with a couple hooks that you can use. It comes with some hooks you can use to interact with external contracts. It comes with some hooks you can use to interact with your deployed contracts, hooks you can use to access the network. So the use Scaffold contract write hook can be used to interact with your deployed contracts, calling write methods on it by specifying these params, right? So the value and gas limit params are optional, by the way, and also the argument params if your function does not take in any arguments. So you specify the contract name of your deployed contract and the mint, the function name, the value if there is any, it's optional, and the gas limits if there is any, and default is currently set to okay. Yeah, so and it is because of this implementation that our minting works, right? So you can see here. Now there is also the use Scaffold contract read hook to access read methods in your deployed contracts. So we can read the name of the NFT and it will return it. Right, so how does this work? You can see that we specify the required params, the contract name, the function name, and it returns the data, which is the value returned from the function, and also a loading indicator per se, boolean. Right. So where do I dump this? Where do I put this? Where do I put this? I put this in the header. Right. So I put this just to show that it works. I will go ahead and remove it, by the way. But if I dump this here and if I refresh, you see, now as you can see, it reads the name from the contract just by specifying that one line of code, and I can read, there's no need to pick up the provider or the wallet and, Ethers, the JSON provider, all that good stuff, all those steps, the ABI address, the ABI, interface address, all that setup is done for you in this helper hook, right? So I believe that's amazing. It's one of the beauty of Scaffold. It just eases up the development process, so you don't have to think too much about doing the simple things. But besides these hooks, there are other hooks. You can check them out in the hooks folder. There's a use contract read hook, which is used to read external contracts. This one is to write to external contracts. Use balance to read your connected account balance on the connected network. Use account to read the connected account. And we can also sign messages, right? We can also sign messages using the use sign message hook, right? So how does this work? What does this look like, right? What does this look like? Well, let's check it out. So what I want to do is to sign a hello world message, right? Just so you can see how that looks. So I'll go ahead and so it returns a function that you can call from anywhere in the scope, and it will sign the transaction to sign the message, right? So I'll sign hello world. And we will see the prompt. Where do I dump that? Let's say I dump this in the not the button. Use effects. Yeah, I dump this in use effects. So when I go into the example implementation screen, I get this prompt. So this is basically the prompt, right? Kind of like in MetaMask or something. So you have the message, and I can reject this. I'll go ahead and remove that console log, by the way, developments, And if I reject this, it doesn't sign, of course, but if I sign this, it will resolve to the signature hash, right? So if you're a developer, you understand how to use that, right? So easy recover and all that beautiful stuff. Okay, so well, there you have it. By the way, that's Scaffold ETH. I had to go grab some breakfast, but well, you've already seen how powerful the tool can be, right? It's very, very essential, and I wish to thank Austin Griffith and his crew, the Build Guild team, for serving as a motivation to create this product. It's kudos to you all. Rest assured, the tool works on iOS. It has been tested on the iOS simulator, so you can go ahead and run it on there if you prefer to work for iOS. And if you have any questions on anything I did not cover up in the video, feel free to reach out to me, right? I'm active on Telegram, I'm active on Twitter, right? I'm active on these platforms. If you have my number or my WhatsApp number, you can reach out to that as well. So thank you all for having me. Thank you for your time. If you're here, that means you're really dedicated, and kudos to you, and have a good day. Happy coding.